Hi and welcome to this very creepy movie review of Stephen King's It. So the original adaptation of Stephen King's It was released as a teleplay or miniseries if you prefer in 1990, 27 years ago in fact. It ran for 3 hours 12 minutes, thus the need for a miniseries. It was quite long. Not Lord of the Rings extended edition long, but long enough nonetheless. It was set in Drury, Maine in 1957 and an entity that feeds on your worst fears awakes from a 27-year slumber. Most people who watched it in the 90s now have a fear of clowns, which is called chlorophobia, incidentally. And we can blame one man for that, Tim Curry, for his performance as Pennywise, which was horrifically genius. In fact, recently I sat down to watch this Blu-ray edition of the 90s It with Tim Curry, and I can quite safely say that he's still phenomenal in it, pun intended. Although the film is very dated now, fashion, special effects and the general way in which we make movies has come a very long way since then. What now really lets down the original is monsters and well, everything apart from Pennywise, which has stood the test of time. The Loser Club is still great.
Hey, we're 7 now. Lucky 7.
The very defined individual characters that are thrust together are so defined and well cast that I didn't mind the terrible shoulder pads or the bad editing or terrible synth horror effects that just comes across as cheesy. Well, that just comes across as cheesy now. In fact, I still really enjoyed it until the ridiculous stop motion giant spider thing. That just made me sigh and wish I had turned it off earlier. And you'll float too!
You'll float too! You'll float too! You'll float too!
Which brings us to It 2017. For me, this version kept up the fundamentals of what made it, what made it so good. Things have been changed though, like the time it is set in. The film opens with Georgie in the year 1988 instead of 57, and picking up the helm of Pennywise from Tim Curry is Bill Skarsgard. Man, that family is so talented. His one brother is currently playing Floki in Vikings, also a very mental, scary character. The other brother, Alexander, you'll know him best for recently in Tarzan, in the new live-action film Tarzan, or Eric Northman in True Blood. Mr. Skarsgard, or Stellan to his friends, has graced us with many fantastic acting roles, like Thor or the girl with the dragon tattoo. Those are just some of the plethora of amazing roles that Daddy Skarsgard has given us. It's a very talented family.
Are you joking?
I personally think that Bill has not let me down with his take on Pennywise. He brought his own characteristics to Pennywise, and it was freaking awesome to watch. Scary and terrifying, but amazing nonetheless. And that's the best thing that I can say about this version of It. They did their own thing. It's not a carbon copy of the original miniseries. Oh wait, before I carry on, I should say this. I might be the only person on the planet that didn't get this from the trailers. It's only the first part. The whole time watching the film, I kept expecting the film to get to that part where they grow old and come back 27 years later to defeat the scary, scary clown. But then the credits rolled and these words, Chapter 1, came up. And I was like, dope! Slapped my forehead. How did I miss that? So I'm telling you in case you're like me and expect to get one thing and get another. Anyway, the story is much the same as the original and centers on a group of 7 losers, each of which have their own demons to fight, which it loves to manipulate them with. And I think that's why this story still works. It's not the clown or the jump scares or the fact that our special effects are so good now that it's hard to make out what's real or not. It's all in the developed characters of the kids, and that's where the film works best. When they are on screen together, it feels right, like watching Stand By Me or Super 8 for the first time. So when it really hits the fan with the stuff of nightmares, you are truly rooting for them. When they are in danger, which is almost all of the time, you're willing them not to go and do that stupid thing, like walk down that dark corridor that's blatantly going to be filled with lots of clowns. This first part runs at 2 hours and 15 minutes, and now that I think about it, it did drag a bit. I did clock watch my invisible watch 3 times during the film, but that could be the dude in the high-vis jacket that kept coming up the stairs as it like I was filming it. It came up 4 times, I think. That didn't really help me get in the zone. No! Anyways, high-vis jacket man aside, there were things fantastic about this film and things, in my opinion, not so fantastic. The filming, directing and cinematography were all phenomenal. The acting superb. If I had one gripe, I'd say that sometimes less is more. There are moments in the original that you don't see what happens. It's left to your imagination. In this version, I felt like a lot was not left to the imagination. Everything was shown and a lot more blood was used in this. A lot more. All the tricks of the trades for horror was used. Jump scares, contorted clown bodies, scary horror, house of death. At least there was no stop motion spider, right? Well, at least not yet. That could happen in part 2. And then we can float too.
You'll float too.
Thanks for watching this review. Please click that sub button and comment. Let me know what you thought of it so you can float too. And we'll be doing loads of other reviews. I'm eager to know what you guys thought of it and whether you still rate this version or which version you preferred. Bye.